What is happening, guys? Welcome to FPL Tactics, where we look to master the beautiful game of FPL. We made it to 50 subscribers. The new goal now is 100, triple figures. Let's see if we can get there together. So please like this video and give it a wee cheeky subscribe. We're going to go over game week 32 and 33. I'm going to look at my transfer plans of what that's going to look like for game week 33, and also I've got two free hit drafts that we're going to go through. One is a little bit more aggressive and one's a little bit more safe, but it's just to give you some options and some things to think about. I know a lot of people aren't free hitting, but at least it gives you an idea of a team to maybe work towards as well. Once again, I love speaking to everyone in the comments, so please like the video and subscribe, comment with your thoughts. My name is Joel. Let's get into it. So this is the game week 32 results that we are looking at right now. So yeah, the obvious one. Let's talk about the big risk-taking captain. It's interesting actually. Son was actually probably the least captained out of Son, Salah, Palmer and Haaland. But I just felt like there was going to be an opportunity to get ahead, and it felt like that actually quite consistently for a lot of the games. I mean, it didn't look like Liverpool were going to make it, but Salah got the penalty towards the end. Obviously, Palmer got the assist, but Chelsea just looked terrible in that game. They looked absolutely terrible. Haaland got his goal, but I think the noise was between really Salah and, to be fair, Salah and Son. And so I opted for Son because I just thought it was an opportunity to go differential. But anyway, let's go through the team. You got NATO, 4 points, got the save points. Was hoping for a clean sheet, but at the end of the day, not too bothered about that. At least they got the save points, so good returns. Really happy with Gabriel and Saliba. I called it previously, and I know I didn't do a video on this, but I did call it with Saliba and Gabriel against Man City. I just had a feeling that Arsenal were going to pull a result, because that game, you're going to go defence. Arteta had to change the way he played to get the result he wanted, which was a draw. Essentially, that would have been ideal for them. Obviously, a win would have been perfect, but realistically, going to City to get a win would have been difficult, and the way they played it was just a masterclass. So those guys have been scoring some big points over the game weeks and have been great for the back for me, so really happy with that. It's obviously gone against me with Romero rather than Porro getting the goal, which is he is a threat. And is it a regret because I've got the goal with Romero when Porro didn't, so it's kind of 1-1 at the moment, so fair play. I didn't want to use the transfer to change to another Spurs player, but if you've got Porro on your team, you'll be a happy person for sure. Obviously Son with the captain, got the assist. I think when he got the assist, I thought there is a chance here for another goal. Instead of Son, it was Porro. So I think so, yeah. So at the end of the day, is what it is. I would like him. It would have been amazing if he got that goal, and it would have definitely given me a green arrow. But at the same time, not too bothered about it. Salah obviously got the penalty, and he got an extra bonus point as well. So fair play to, if you've captain Salah, you get those extra, 8 points? It's not really 8 points, I think 6 points you miss out if you captain Son or Palmer. But anyway, you got the extra points there as well. Maddison's been so disappointing the last sort of 3 game weeks. I don't know what it is. Like, even some of his passes have been a bit off, which is frustrating. But I'm going to hold on to him because it's just typical FPL. As soon as you sell a player, they go big. Although the next game is against Newcastle. I think there's going to be goals galore in that game, so you never know. Could be a Maddison festival. You just never know. Palmer never ceases to amaze me. He might even go down as the best asset for money. I think he was like 4.9 million. I actually bought him at that price, then sold him and brought him back in. But 4.9 million at the start of the season. The amount of points he's scored so far is absolutely incredible. So, yeah, he's on 5 points now. I mean, he's guaranteed returns for that Chelsea team because they rely on him so much. Conor Gallagher's not a bad shout either, but Palmer, what a player. Really disappointed with Tony being on the bench. Not really sure what was going on there, but is what it is. He's got some great fixtures coming up, so I really hope that he hasn't had a fallout with a manager or something because of murmurs about transfers and stuff. He's a key player for them, and they've got a lot of key games coming up, so I can imagine that, that hopefully he will start as well. Morris, what a touch that is. He basically got the same amount of points as Haaland, so really happy with that. I was so over the moon when they got that goal towards the end to clinch it. So yeah, that was a phenomenal idea. I heard obviously that Foden was going to be benched, which, just to let you know, I brought in Foden for Saka, who scored. It was, I don't know if you've seen in my earlier videos, but basically my transfer plan was to get in Palmer and then Foden for game week 30 and then 32. So I just wanted to stick to my plan, really. Obviously it was a risk and he got benched, so fair enough. But either way, I wouldn't have played Morris then if Foden played, and who knows, Foden may not have got any returns. So still happy that I got the returns from Morris on top of that. And then Watkins, I mean, it's interesting. I looked at some of my competing people in the mini leagues I'm in, and a lot of them don't actually have Watkins, so it was quite differential for me to have Watkins. And so although overall I got a red arrow this week, I've actually got green arrows in my mini leagues because a lot of the people above me didn't have Watkins. They did captain, a lot of them actually captain Palmer as well, so I managed to go up in my mini leagues but not in the overall rank, which is a little bit frustrating. But at the same time, I'm clinging on to next week to bounce back because there's going to be some big transfer plans going into next week. But right now, 130k in the world. I've still got the free hit coming in when a lot of people don't have. I've got a solid plan for game week 37 when it comes to getting my team positioned for that, which we'll talk about a little bit. But yeah, that's how the game week looks like. I'm quite happy with it. On the bench, we didn't really have much to desire. Areola, Foden on nothing. Emerson on 4, which is great. Doherty on 1 point. But I don't know how, maybe Emerson over Tony, which I never would have done. So I think I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. So yeah, that's the way it's looked and that's the way it's gone. So let's have a look at game week 33. So this is basically what game week 33 team is going to be looking like. And as you've noticed, I've obviously brought in De Bruyne and I've got rid of Watkins in order to fund that move. De Bruyne and Haaland. So I've taken out Watkins to fund that move. Now I was debating about the idea of keeping Watkins in instead of Tony, but just the fixtures look so good. They've got like Luton, Sheffield United and Everton in the next 3, so it just is like you have to keep him in there. Obviously the risk is bringing in De Bruyne over Salah, but the reason I'm thinking of doing this is because I've got game week 37 I'm thinking about, so obviously I'm free hitting next week. But the game week 37 is what I'm thinking about, which is going to be mainly Man City, Tottenham and Newcastle and Chelsea players in that team. And so I need to engineer my team towards that. So my team is going to be, over the next few weeks, just transferring in those Newcastle and Chelsea players as well. I've still not settled on this because part of me perhaps would just like to stick with Salah for game week 37 either way, and just go with maybe 3 Man City assets or 2 Man City assets. So I still got a little bit of thinking. Obviously this is also depending on how these game week how the Champions League games will go, because obviously I'm sure De Bruyne will feature in those games, also Foden as well. And so, that's another discussion to be had closer to the time. I've got the captaincy armband on Foden at the moment, but obviously I'm pretty sure I'll move that to Haaland. I had it on Foden as more of a differential discussion because he's just been absolutely flying. He is a midfielder. Haaland looks a little bit off it at the moment, but I don't know. Is it too much of a risk? Because usually when I get to this point, the overall captaincy ownership will probably be on Haaland, and I might just fall because I just feel like the risk will be too big to miss out on that. Especially, I mean, that would be the dream, to have Foden, De Bruyne and Haaland playing against Luton at home. I just feel like that's going to be an absolute massacre. And so if you're owning those assets, then you're going to score big. But it is slightly risky. I completely get that. So the other option could be to keep Salah in there, and instead of De Bruyne, but then I would need to downgrade perhaps another player to Anthony Gordon, perhaps a Maddison to Anthony Gordon, which would be to fund that move, so I can keep Salah in there. Which, do you know what? It's not a bad shout. I'm not against the idea, because if you have Son, Foden, and Salah, and Anthony Gordon and Palmer in midfield, it's quite a nice midfield. But I'm really attracted to taking this risk on the Luton game, because it will also benefit me in the long run for Gameweek 37 as well. But that's the way the team's looking at the moment. I've got Romero in defence. I've got Emerson. It's against Fulham in that game. So I feel like I'll probably move Emerson in instead of Romero, just because that Newcastle game is going to be goals galore, I think. So I think it'll be the sensible move. But that's how the team's looking at the moment, and I feel like it's looking pretty strong for Game Week 37. This is what I'm thinking, because basically I'm 3-4 transfers away for having a full double week, Game Week team in that 37. So it's looking good. So I'm excited about that. Now I want to show you is a couple of free hit drafts that I've put together as well. So I'm just going to talk you through them. So this is the first free hit draft that I wanted to show you. This is a little bit more, I would say, is it safe? I suppose it's safe in some ways. Now, again, a lot depends on Trent Alexander-Arnold, but let's talk about goalkeeper Pickford. I think he's the best option for that game week. You're thinking save points against Liverpool, and you're hoping for a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, who are also quite an attacking team and like to get a lot of shots off. So if all fails and he doesn't get any clean sheets, he's going to get save points. So I think he's just the best option for that. If Trent is in the team, then great. If not, which, that's 50-50 at the moment, then you could be looking at other options as well. Obviously, I'm thinking maybe Van Dijk for the Liverpool side of things. You've got Ait-Nouri. I mean, this guy is just such an attacking option for the defence. I kind of want to get him in for my actual team, but it's a shame, but I just don't really have room for him at the moment. But I think it's a great option for the double game week, so definitely be thinking about that. White, I mean, I've been so impressed with him. It's kind of funny how Gabriel and Saliba have benefited me so much over the last couple of game weeks, and then they're not even in my free hit draft. And I just think that they are both, again, really good options for over a 10 game week span. But White is a great sort of differential, because I know a lot of people will own Gabriel and Saliba, but White is very attacking. He's always up there. He's got a good assist potential as well. So I just think that that's why it'd be a nice option to have in there. Saka, Salah and Odegaard. I mean, you want to have as many Arsenal attacking assets in there as well. Now, Salah in there is an obvious. I think he's going to be my captain for free hit no matter what. So no matter what the team looks like, I'm going to have Salah in there. Eze and Neto, they're more in there just to fund the players that I've got in the team. Now, you could upgrade someone like Eze, downgrade Trent Alexander to Van Dijk, and upgrade Eze to someone like could be another, or you could maybe change Trent Alexander down to another defender and upgrade Eze to like a Luis Diaz, or maybe a Man City asset. But you want the double game weeks in there. But I would like to have I would like to have maybe a Liverpool attacker in there instead, if you want to downgrade Trent Alexander down. Now, Neto could also be Sarabia, for example. He's taking the penalties, so actually could be a good option. Neto's just he is again the engine room a lot of the time for Wolves, but more recently the informed players have been the likes of Sarabia, so could be a good option instead of Neto as well. And a lot of people own Sarabia at the moment, so if you don't have a free hit, then it's good to have those Wolves players in there. Darwin and Solanke. Now, you'll notice that Haaland isn't in this template, and I just think that that's because He's got the single game week, and I just always want to back double game week players to there. And Solanke's, they're not terrible fixtures. Again, Aston Villa right now have been struggling to have clean sheets, so I just think that Bournemouth, Solanke's going to get a goal at least in one of those two games. And Darwin has got Everton and Fulham. He loves a derby. Derby Darwin, as they call them. So good options there. So that's basically what the free hit draft looks like. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of an aggressive free hit draft, which I really like. So this is my more aggressive free hit draft. Now the defence is a little bit light. Actually looking at this again, Pickford obviously in goal, Walker in defence. I mean, it was just a random punt, but I was just trying to fit in what I think could be the most likely clean sheet. But to be honest, looking at the way that Man City are playing and their clean sheet record is not great, I would be happy to stick Braithwaite in there instead of Walker and just hope for that clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, because to be honest, no matter how well Man City play against Brighton, I just don't think it's going to be a clean sheet, especially away to Brighton. So I think it's always worth just putting in Braithwaite in there and have a double Everton defence, because if it does pull off, if you do get that clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, it will be differential for sure in that free hit game week, or game week 34, because not many people have double Everton defence if you're not free hitting, so it'll be a huge advantage. At the same time, I don't think everyone's going to have clean sheet potential defenders in that game week, so you're not going to lose out if you don't get the clean sheets either. Aït-Nouri's in it as well. Obviously, Crystal Palace, you could pretty much choose any of the Crystal Palace defenders. Anderson's just, for me, has got the highest points for Crystal Palace. He's got some good attacking potential, but I mean, not many of the Palace defenders. You've got Mitchell in there as well if you wanted to choose him over Anderson, so could be an idea as well. You've got West Ham versus Newcastle, not great fixtures, so if you wanted to go with someone like Sanusi, who does have quite a lot of attacking potential against like an Aston Villa and Wolves, you could also do that as well. Now this is what I love about this midfield. You obviously have Saka, Salah, Odegaard, Havertz and Diaz. I think they're all nailed in that squad for that time. Diaz, maybe there's some rotation potential, but with the injuries, I think he could stay. And he's been coming into some nice form. So I think he's got minutes in both games. Put it that way. He might come on as a sub on one of those games, but I think they'll probably want Diaz playing against a game like Everton, for example, because it's a game, not just a must-win game anyway for the league. It's a must-win game in the derby, and I think Liverpool are going to put their strongest team out for that. And so I think the likes of Salah, Diaz and Darwin are going to be in the squad for that game. Fulham game, maybe Darwin might get rotated, but we'll see. He's going to get minutes, I think, either way. But I think Saka, Odegaard and Havertz, they seem to be mainstays in that Arsenal squad. And Havertz is just scoring. He's just been gone under the radar. He just keeps getting goals and assists constantly. So he's definitely a player that, again, not many people have, but it'd be great to have in your free hit team. Solanke up front with Darwin as well. I think this is such a good squad to go a little bit differential. And I'm at 130k. Hopefully I'll be closer to the 100k by game week 34. But this is one of those free hit drafts that will take you from 100k to like 60k if it pulls off. Or if it doesn't quite pull off, you're probably going to be still close to 130k. So I think it's worth the risk to really push you up the ranks as well. And a lot of these players, people will have the main scorers like Salah and Saka in the squad, and a lot of people do have Darwin as well, I've noticed, and some people have Diaz. But this will really take advantage of your free hit having this one. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on what you think to the drafts as well. So yeah, guys, that is basically everything. So love the likes, love the comments. Please look to subscribe to the channel, because it helps you keep going. It's easy, it's free for you, but it's motivation for me. Please put in the comments what you think to the drafts and what you think to the videos. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll catch you next week.